What's up, Starcraft fans? It is time for some boring science stuff. In one of the recent patches, we discovered that Horner's Assault Galleons become invincible, or rather, undestroyable, once you have the Eminent Domain active. So the Eminent Domain mutator will make the enemy take control of buildings that they destroyed, meaning your buildings that they destroyed, except for Horner's Galleons. So the Assault Galleons are Horner's production structures. So I will demonstrate on top of the past with chaotic power couple prestige so that my magma shoot faster. My first prestige doesn't really matter. Actually, the first two prestiges don't really matter. I'll just go for magma charges so that I'll have an emergency button essentially when stuff get through. We'll see. Thank you to Endarth, Lucinas, and Peters, Shadowcon who are supporting me in the pulse cannon here. And thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. We are on the Magoro map Protoss because we want to control the enemy composition, which I'll go for Sky Toss Tempest, and I'll go for Pattern B, which means single hybrid air. Or rather, single wave at 9 minutes, and the enemy will be air hybrid. So, the unit of choice I'll go for will just be the 5 Galleons. I'll only make 5 Galleons this entire game, and they will just try to aggro all the enemies to them. Meaning they'll just stand in front of the enemy, they'll take all the damage, and once they go down to like 1 health or something, they will no longer take damage because they cannot be destroyed with this Eminent Domain mutator on. So I've started a Galleon here, a Galleon here, and I will send them to each of the 4 corners of the map because the enemies on this map will try to destroy this temple in the middle, and my job will be to protect said temple, prevent the enemy from getting to it. My strategy is, of course, to make my invincible meat shields these Assault Galleons. So yes, these are air units, so the enemy composition I've gone for is Sky Toss Tempest, so that everything will be able to shoot this Galleon and nothing will be able to just ignore my Galleon and just go straight for the temple. We do not want the enemies to go straight for the temple. So Galleon's on the way. My choice here will be to go straight for the enemy base. I do not want those enemies adding these random cannons, so I just went for this here Nexus. Just flew straight for the Nexus, and you can see the strategy is already starting. This Galleon is down to 6 health, you can see at the bottom of the screen. 6 health on that Galleon. Yeah, 6 health on that Galleon. And it is not taking any more damage. It is not going any lower. Because that is the bug. The Eminent Domain bug on Horner. Again, all you need is for Eminent Domain to be active and Horner to be active. It does not matter which prestige you are. Horner with this mutator and this prestige will have unkillable Assault Galleons. So yes, just shooting at these Nexus. I do not want the enemies to keep rebuilding these probes, which will rebuild all these bases. You can see first base has spawned. The first wave was announced at 3:10, which means this is Pattern B. There will be a single attack wave at 9 minutes at one of these sides, and the air hybrids will be a thing instead of the ground hybrids. This is usually considered to be the worst one of the two, because there will be an extra thrasher spawn here, and the air hybrids are way more annoying to deal with because commanders are typically better against ground than they are against air, so air hybrids are very annoying. Wouldn't say difficult, sometimes they are, but usually ground is more bearable for the enemies or for the armies of the commanders. I used a set of magmas to clear out these probes. I do not want these probes to rebuild everything. Just got rid of them right away. This last Galleon is right down here, destroying this last Nexus. You can see this one Galleon right here. So you can see that instead of going straight for the temple, like enemies normally do, this attack wave has just chosen to sit here and keep shooting at this Assault Galleon. They are aggroed to this Galleon, meaning they really want to make sure it goes down, but it just does not go down. They're just being permanently irritated. Amon sent these guys on a mission to destroy the temple, and his forces are like, you know what, I think I'll just shoot this thing that doesn't take any damage. I think I'll do that. So Amon must be sitting in his chair right now, being very annoyed. He's probably very salty right now. He's probably whacking his computer and complaining that his stuff aren't making. But that's just how it is. This is skill based, guys. This cheese is skill based. You can be a very high rank in 1v1 probably if you do this cheese. Totally. Yeah. You just have to know what to do. And by watching this video, you're already arming yourselves with knowledge that you need to beat mutations with Hot and Horner with Eminent Domain. And I believe that is all you really need in life. Because what is life other than a mission to beat Eminent Domain with Hot and Horner? Specifically this method. Is that not what life is all about? And if the answer is no, you probably have to figure out more stuff about life, because, you know, life is pretty complicated. Unless, you know, your life is all about beating this mutation and clowning on Amon using just these Galleons. Because you gotta admit, this is a pretty funny way to clown on Amon. Imagine my ally sitting here like he's macroing hard, he's trying to get his 100 supply, he's trying to get upgrades, use heroes to delete enemies. Meanwhile, Hot and Horror is just sitting here. Pew, pew, pew. You know what the most annoying thing about Hot and Horner is? Look how this Galleon just shoots sideways instead of just trying to shoot directly at this target. But that's not the most annoying thing. The most annoying thing is that apparently the Assault Galleons have to come to a full stop. They cannot do a decelerating shot, unlike most air units of the commanders. Because, yeah, even, for example, the Banshee, it does not really have a moving shot. But when you if you've played that Starcraft 2 Master arcade game, you'll know that there's a moving shot challenge at level 27, where you have to make the Banshees shoot when they're just barely out of range of the Marines. Most air units have that, where they can shoot when they're still decelerating, not these Galleons. These Galleons have to come to a complete stop before they shoot at these targets. And Six Better and I considered that a bug. So we're trying to get Starcraft to fix it, I think. So back at home, I'm just sitting here. Engineering bay done, armory done, fusion core done. That means my galleys are now researching the bay thing. Yeah, the hangar bay. Well, that will allow them to be essentially carrier galleons, so they can deal a little bit more damage to these thrashers, which are pretty much the only things that will pose any threat to the temple. I have to delete these thrashers before they start shooting at the temple. Meanwhile, I have an SCV on each of these sides, building turrets so that in the off chance that the flying hybrid, this is the reason why the pattern B, or the air hybrid pattern, is considered worse on Temple of the Past, is because the air hybrid typically just fly past everything. You have a well set up defense here, cannons, turrets, siege tanks, and the hybrids just nope, I think I'll just fly over and go straight for that temple. That is the reason why this pattern with air hybrid is considered the worst one. You can see these oracles, they do hit ground only, so they do kind of fly past. But I use my galleons to right click on these oracles to make them completely not a thing. In fact, I just target them, and I ignore the phoenixes, I ignore the derps, I ignore this hybrid. The most important thing is to deal with. Yeah, you can see these air hybrids just chose to fly by, and that's why I saved that column the fleet, because those hybrids really, I'd really rather not deal with those hybrids. Meanwhile, Galleon here try to take a little damage. Try to deal a little bit of damage on that bonus. I will try to go for them later. Meanwhile, this Assault Galleon here has managed to delete all of these enemies, because even though it's at 1 health, it's 1 completely undeletable health, and that is so funky. This bug is something else. It just allows me to just have basically 5 units on the map, 5 galleons. Well, I have a few hangar bays, but they're basically interceptors for my Assault Galleon carriers.
The strike fighters need a platform before they
Yeah, I'm not gonna go for that, Matt Horner. Just chill out, Matt. My galleons got this. Another wave going straight for this Assault Galleon. And yeah, they're trying. Emma's like, this filthy cheeser. No skill. Just do anything. This stupid non-skilled guy is just using a stupid cheese to get an easy win. Well, no, Emon. It's very high skill cheese. Meanwhile, these two Assault Galleons just whacking these enemies. At 13 minutes and 37 seconds, a Void Thrasher will spawn on this spot. It will try to damage the temple. For that reason, I've sent an Assault Galleon to just intercept that Thrasher here before it's able to shoot. Normally, both commanders are in this lane trying to beat this big wave of hybrid that are trying to get to the temple, but advanced call players know to send one unit here to try and distract this here Thrasher from shooting at the temple. In this case, I've sent 2 of these Galleons to try and burst down that Thrasher before it makes it. So now that the Thrasher has spawned, we have about 1.5 minutes to get back to this spot. It is pattern B, so instead of the enemies flying in from this corner, they will drop directly via drop pods in this location. The good news is I already have missile turrets in place to shoot down the air forces. I'll probably need this Galleon to turn back around to shoot at the ground forces that are here, because the turrets that I have cannot shoot the ground. Meanwhile, over here, I've strategically positioned this Assault Galleon to stand near this set of rocks over here, these destructible rocks. That is because at 16 minutes, a Thrasher, well, not maybe 16, something like that. Yeah, actually around 16 minutes, a Thrasher will spawn around here and try to hit the temple. But as long as I have an Assault Galleon here ready to intercept the Thrasher will aggro onto this Galleon instead of trying to shoot the temple. That's my whole strategy. You can see I've sent this Galleon here ready to shoot down the derps. I've sent it back because I figured I have 15 mag mines. I might as well. These Phoenixes will not last long. Can stuff them back around here. Meanwhile, this derp got 2 shots off, but it went down to my Galleon. Meanwhile, Thrasher is here. It is, as you can see, aggroed to my Assault Galleon instead of shooting the temple. Meanwhile, that Assault Galleon is barely posing any threat. Well, you know, it actually is posing a threat. This Assault Galleon will actually shoot this guy down. But little does Amon know, the whole point of this is to delay Amon's Thrasher. Amon would have been more successful if his Thrashers, his high health Thrashers, just chose to shoot the temple instead of trying to defend themselves. Of course, Amon's an idiot, so he won't even think of doing that. Meanwhile, Assault Galleon here has basically stalled this entire force here. They have a bunch of derps, they have a bunch of Phoenixes, but my single Galleon is just stalling all of them. My Galleon doesn't need to delete all of them. He just needs to stall them for long enough that the attack wave will not be able to make it through. Meanwhile, I use the Call in the Fleet to delete this Thrasher, so I can have this Assault Galleon focus elsewhere. And mostly because I wanted to use it to cool down before I have to use it again earlier. Now, the next wave will be a set of hybrid attacks. Now, since this is pattern B, we can't actually determine whether it'll come from both sides or 2 attacks at once coming down the center aisle or the southwest aisle. So we'll have to watch for it. Okay? You have to figure out where the attack will be coming from. Meanwhile, this guy just chilling out here, just whacking this bonus. Okay, you can see now, Amon has to reveal his hand. Both attack waves have come down the southwest. That is so many units. Look at that. This one single Galleon is holding back. How many? That is 7 air hybrids. That is 9 derps. That is 9 phoenixes. There's a couple of stalkers on the ground. And I believe they also have, yes, a hybrid dominator, a big hybrid. All being sold by this little old Assault Galleon. I guess they're all enamored by how fancy Mirror Hunt's Assault Galleons are. They're really trying to spray water on it. They're really trying to. This is basically Amon's car wash. Welcome to Amon's car wash, guys. He is cleaning Assault Galleon using a bunch of lasers because you really have to dig deep into those internal layers of the paint job to really get that nasty scratch. And you can see they're doing a pretty good job of cleaning out the scratch on the Assault Galleons. Meanwhile, this attack wave from the north trying to get through, but it's not gonna be a thing. Next attack wave will be here. It will be a Thrasher spawn. I have strategically put my Assault Galleon on here. And you can see more attack wave incoming. I have to get rid of these. I have to get rid of these oracles. So I dropped an assault Galleon, a space station over here, to get rid of all these things, and that just dealt so much damage. That incredible damage. And all this Galleon has to do now is stand here and try to stall this Thrasher. You can see we have a bunch of these. We have a bunch of these hybrid nemesis, these air hybrids, trying to float over to this temple. And pretty lucky for me, they decided to turn back because this area was scantily defended. I did notice though, so I now sent a bunch of SCVs to shore up my defense. I do have enough minerals to build a bunch of defense on that. Now an attack wave coming through here, and once again being stalled by this one Assault Galleon just standing here, making sure that they'll get through. Meanwhile, my two Galleons just making sure to take out the first bonus. It will go eventually. Now, next wave will be the double Thrasher spawn. A Thrasher will spawn on this plate and on this plate. So I will need to get one of these Galleons back in position to defend. This other Galleon is already in position, so that's completely fine now. You know, this Galleon just stalling. He's going to Amon's car wash, the northeast branch. Get his paint job done. Meanwhile, turrets in position to intercept any enemies that choose to just fly through my Galleons. Thrasher is here. It is getting aggroed by my Galleon. Other Thrasher is here. Getting aggroed by my other Galleon. So just wait for a little bit while the Thrashers try to fight my Galleon, but it won't be a thing. And in a minute, the most dangerous. I've called this the most dangerous. Oh, actually, I used the call of the fleet on this second bonus, so I can clear it because I will go for all three bonuses here. The call of the fleet will be able to take out this bonus, like so. There is one more here, and I'm gonna use Magmice to clear it. I can see I have 26 here. So I've called this wave the most dangerous wave because it has so many hybrids. Look at it. Look at this. That's 6 air hybrids. That's 5 Aderps, 3 Stalkers, and a big hybrid. On this side, we have so many. Actually, oh, are those like separate Tempest? Apparently, those kind of separate Tempest waves. That's really funky. That's really funky. Look at that. I control click, and they're clearly 7. There are clearly 7 Tempests here, but for some reason they don't get the same control group. So they're probably way more than this number of. Yeah, they're probably more than 5 Void Rays. Probably more like 10. Anyway, I have this Assault Galleon. Just this hybrid Dominator, this big hybrid tried to walk past, but it's not. It's getting bugged out. Okay, now time for the last bonus. I will drop every single one of my Magmice out here. Take care of it. Meanwhile, this. Okay, I drop all those. That's a lot of Magmines. All right. Now for this air hybrid trying to delete the rocks. The air hybrid's a rock slapper. It is not long for this world. It will get deleted by this here Assault Galleon. Meanwhile, all these Thrashers try to gun for my Assault Galleons, but they will not get through. Oh my goodness. These Assault Galleons are really holding back the tide. Meanwhile, back at top is very peaceful. You'd think that I have like 30 Brutalisk or something. Or like an army of Super Garys, but no. Super Galleons is where it's at. And that's all you need to delete the defenses on this map with Eminent Domain. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea of what else you do, please leave that in a comment. Score screen, 63% damage from the Assault Galleon. The next biggest one is the Space Station. That's the Coup Caster Horner. Next is Calling the Fleet at 7.6%. And the Magmines did pretty well too. On the other score screen, you can see 5 made Assault Galleons, 0 lost. Magmines, I used up 215. That's probably where all these kills from Immon came from. But you can see he didn't actually damage Temple. I got full Temple health, all bonuses gotten with Eminent Domain as a mutator, and I'll see you guys next time.